I was surprised to see that my wife was being unfaithful. I thought she was smarter than that, but it's fine. I remained calm and said, "Brenda, you raised your voice. Did you hear what I said? You have a date with a man this Friday and you're okay with that?" I noticed her surprise, but I couldn't help but mind. What choice did I have? She'd made up her mind. I don't control you. You're on your own. Your voice and your expression tell me you're determined to see this through. So what choice do I have left? I'll go back. Don't let your fragile male ego get in your way. I love you. I'll make it up to you. You'll see. It's wrong. Once again, I kept my voice steady and calm. What do you mean I didn't? If you say anything like that, I deserve this. Would our parents agree with you? Brenda lowered her eyes and didn't say anything. It was a clear hint. I let the moment hang in her mind. It wasn't visible, but I knew she still had it. You know, and I know, they won't understand what you're doing is wrong. You know what you're doing is wrong. You just said it. What, when, why did you say you'd make it up to me? It's up to me. If it was dinner with friends, you wouldn't have to make it up to me. Or if you went to get a haircut. You only said that because you know what you're doing is wrong, and you know it makes you an evil person. There was a little uncertainty in her voice. But you said I could do it. No, I never said that, and I never will. All I've admitted is that I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not in a position to stop you. I don't approve of it. I'd like you to stay with me or go out with me. We can go to the same restaurant and then to the same dance club. But it's not about the food or the dancing. It's about the company you prefer. And that company isn't me. You want to hear his name. Am I right? Head in silence. Oh, and it's not important. Let's assume I'm not going to argue about it. Whether you like the name Mr. is irrelevant. Just know this. I don't want you going out with Mr. and dating him on Friday. It will have consequences. What kind of consequences, you ask? Well, you're not only beautiful, you're smart. I tell you those two things all the time. I know you think I only say it because I have to, but I don't. I say it because I mean it. You're the smart one, so you deal with the fallout from Friday's date with Mr. You Bluff. You love me. You always give me what I want. Well, I want it. And like I said, I'll come back, and we'll love each other and grow old together. I can't stop you from doing stupid things, but you've been warned. I've been warned, so I'm leaving. I got up, grabbed my keys, and left before she could say anything else. The temperature in the apartment has been chilly all week. On Thursday night, I packed my stuff and moved into the guest room. What are you doing, Rick? I stopped with an armful of clothes. I looked at her like she was a 2-year-old. I guess I overestimated your intelligence. What do you think? Are you moving? My wife wants to date other men. Do you think I'm going to sleep in the same room with a cheating wife? You're dreaming if you think so. She sounded like a 5-year-old. You're teasing me, old boy. You're such a silly goose, scared that his little figure will lose its shape without a word. I took that armful of clothes, hung them in the spare closet, and went back for another batch. So now you're trying to punish the big bad witch with silence. She smirked. Do you see how pathetic you are? There will be consequences. That was my only answer. She won't be able to say she wasn't warned. On Friday afternoon, I left early and went to an upscale salon where I got a professional modern haircut, shaved thoroughly with a dangerous razor, and even got a manicure at the men's clothing store next door. I bought a casual, elegant shirt, slacks, and I thought about getting a new jacket, but I decided against it because I knew I'd be dancing. So new shoes it was. On the way home, I stopped at a car wash and had them give my truck a full cleaning. I didn't realize what had come over it at home. I took a shower, and when I heard Brenda come in and take a shower, I went downstairs and waited. About half an hour later, she came down in a new bodice I'd never seen before. It was a few inches above the knee and showed a kind and generous view of cleavage. She stopped on the last step and looked at me as if expecting a compliment. When I remained silent, she looked at me a second time and her eyes became saucer. You look great! Where are you going? What did you think? I continued in a mocking tone. Your weak, ignorant husband would just sit at home playing with his little baby and wait for her lascivious majesty to show up. I shook my head slowly and opened the door to the garage. I continued in a harsh tone. I thought you were smart. How wrong can a person be? Well, I don't want to be late. Charmaine can't stand it getting into my clean clothes. I heard a shout and smiled. Gotcha! Charmaine and I had a great evening at a wine bar that served light dinners. On weekends, they had a live pianist on their little dance floor. At work, we'd already discovered that conversation flowed easily between us. Even better, she appreciated my humor. It's a cliché, but it's true. Few things capture a guy's heart as much as a woman laughing at his jokes. Dancing together was like making love in shoes. We were a good match, and on more than one occasion our lips touched our ears, cheeks, and lips. Our bodies radiated magic as we pressed against each other. However, I was still married and we respected that, so we spent a long leisurely evening sipping wine and flirting with each other as we chatted. Brenda is beautiful and passionate, but the flip side of passion is jealousy. I was almost certain that the thought I thought of riding around with Miss D&D Charmaine, and it made me think she'd be crazy and ruin her wonderful time with her new and lustful mister. When I dropped Charmaine off at her apartment, she did me a favor by dripping a drop of her perfume on my shirt and smearing her freshly painted lips on my shirt collar, neck, and cheek with a peck on the cheek. She said goodnight, "Go get her, Tiger," and we laughed. I got in my truck and drove home. It was barely 10. When I walked into Big Chill, I said, "I'd like to know where you went with your anonymous mister. I'd ask if he used protection, but I don't care if you rot from the inside out anymore because I'll never touch your vial. I don't care where you went, what you did, or who you did it with. I had a fantastic time, and I'm very grateful to you for that." What kind of gratitude is that? Don't you get it? If you hadn't got the stupid idea to end our marriage, I never would have had the chance to get to know Charmaine. She's very hot. I got to know Charmaine, who is a very attractive woman. I'm grateful to you for that, darling. Brenda was very angry, and I thought she might call the police. I don't like that woman. Why did you think she was the first person I called? She was looking at me. What did you say? I've made a mistake in thinking you're clever. This isn't difficult. You rejected me and made me look bad by wearing clothes you've never worn for me. You're surprised? When I followed suit, you renegotiated the terms of our marriage despite my objections. I did the same thing, but I was honest enough to tell you who I left with. For some strange reason, you're too ashamed of your accomplice to name them. So, you're pretty clever. What's the problem then, Brenda? Her eyes were wide with shock and 2 tears rolled down her cheeks before she'd even had a chance to catch her breath. I carried on, so I'm guessing Kevin South didn't get you tonight like he'd hoped. Another squeal. The air was filled with pathos, accompanied by the clamping of my hands over my mouth. How did you know? I spoke in a raspy voice, once again displaying the inadequacy of your mind. Think about it for once. You work in an office with at least 10 other women. Kevin is the biggest lover of women anyone has ever seen. Everyone there knows who's sleeping with who, and they talk about it. You used to do it once too. So, did you think for a second you'd be the exception? For over a month now, several of your so-called friends have been telling me how you not only bought into Kevin's, but started looking for her as one of your co-workers. I've been told by friends that you not only bought into Kevin's story, but started looking for her as one of your CO workers. I heard that he dumped her for you. I heard he was going to make you his tonight. Apparently he even had a room at the Marriott. He's spending his first night at the Marriott, after that it's Motel 6 or a woman's house. I heard that her big eyes told me she was shocked at being made to look ignorant and gullible. He's such an easy target. A fit of weeping came over her. Oh, Rick, I'm sorry. You're right, I'm such a fool. How can you bear to be married to a stupid fool like me? Ah, Brenda. The good news is I don't have to keep doing this. I don't have to stay married to your stupid, stinking ass. You'll be served tomorrow after breakfast. We're renting this house and we have 3 more months, so you can. Renew your lease or use that time to find something you like better. Where will you go? She asked in a quiet voice. Let's look at them some more. Everything else you and I have, we'll just split it in half now. You can have sex with whoever you want, and you won't have to put up with crap from a wussy husband. I hope Kevin is worth it. I met some of the other husbands who were victims of Kevin, also known as Mr. One Night. After dinner, he found that his car had been vandalized, the windows were broken, the paint was scratched, there was baby poo on the seats, the wheels were stolen, and I think there was more. While he was surveying the damage, 3 masked men in black robbed him without a word and beat him badly. The police were puzzled as to why. The robbers were after his wallet and fake Rolexes, so they wiped out his family jewelry. There were no witnesses and the parking lot cameras were splattered with paint, so they had nothing to fall back on. At the time, the 4 spouses of his victims were playing poker at one of their homes. After he recovered, he moved out of state. Nobody knows or cares where exactly Brenda moved out. She found an apartment, but when she realized I was happily attached to Charmaine, she moved out of state too. I never saw her again. I stayed with Charmaine for a while, but we mutually decided that it wasn't going to work long term. I soon realized that having fun didn't necessarily lead to long-term compatibility, so I moved out and found a townhouse near work. As I got older, wiser and fitter, I found a good connection with a fellow gym member. One thing led to another, as these moments usually do, and I found happiness with a woman who had real brains between her ears and loyalty in her heart.